What is the status? And if you can tell us a little bit about the UCONN MBA programs and what do you do at UCONN, your background, stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm excited to be a part of this. So my name is Mike Bosey, in the Management and Entrepreneurship Department as an adjunct instructor, teaching courses in management, leadership, strategy, communications, and others. Our students and our program and what it is, the great things that we're doing at the university. So thank you very much for having me.
How the AI boom and brought an excellent point. It's not just about AI, any technology, how do you leverage it and how do you make use of that industry connection, alumni status of UConn and the program in general.
Ideally, you want to build structure from strategy, but sometimes you have to build strategy around structure. Look at COVID, right? COVID really forced higher education in general, all education in general, but certainly here at UConn, take advantage of existing structure to build strategy. Our online MBA came out of necessity from COVID. The fact that we are able to so conveniently and clearly and articulately speak with one another across the coast. And AI will have its same space. Yeah, I mean, it goes back to taking advantage of the opportunities that are there and being innovative.
Right. What have made you successful? Is the innovation, is the openness to community, or is the sincerity? What do I mean by habit?
So one habit that is, I can't think of one specific thing that stands out. Resilience comes to mind. These are most roles that I've ever seen, either inside or outside of higher education, just through the people I've worked with or students I've taught. Resilience is something that's needed. Dependability is something that's needed. Being reliable. That's one that I could talk about for a moment, right? Reliability is really important. So showing up and being where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there, doing the job that you've been asked to do, right? The ability, that's a habit that I formed that I encourage in my children, I encourage in my colleagues, and I've seen so often here at the university, just again, showing up and being where you're supposed to be.
How did you choose UConn among so many other colleges out here?
I am a product leadership professional. I do have deep expertise in SaaS products, cloud, and currently I am doing AI innovation. I wanted to broaden my skill set in the intersection of business, technology, and data.
Can students get benefited out of this kind of actual industry people coming and talking with you, networking with you, doing case competition, judging your competition in your point of view, and how does it help you?
This will greatly help all the students. I believe that to start with, UConn provides very rich ecosystem that goes beyond the classroom. So we do have several platforms like Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation, then Innovation Lab, Digital Frontier Innovation, and again a club culture.
Hey, hi Michael, how are you?
Well, thank you. Thanks, Aswajit. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we've been talking for a while for the podcast last Friday. It was very impromptu. Sorry for the short notice. So we'll just wrap up a quick podcast between you as a admissions director or general director of MBA programs plus faculty and the general tech population. What they can get from the UConn MBA and what is the status, and if you can tell us a little bit about the UConn MBA programs and what do you do at UConn, your background, stuff like that.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm excited to be a part of this. So my name is Mike Bosey. I'm the Director of Student Services for MBA programs at the University of Connecticut. I also teach in the Management and Entrepreneurship Department as an adjunct instructor, teaching courses in management, leadership, strategy, communications, and others. I'm excited to have a few minutes to be able to chat with you about our students and our program and what it is. And I think the great things that we're doing at the university. So thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Michael. Actually, I'm grateful that we are able to, I'm already an alum of UConn.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. The MS in BAPM.
BAPM, yeah. So the point is to propagate, in general, the UConn School of Business, not a particular course. Obviously, MBA is the flagship product that UConn or any school, any reputed school has. And you have we were chatting on Friday, you have a lot of students actually, 1,000 or 700 to 1,000 odd students, if I'm right. I'm not.
We do have a lot of students. That's the important part. We have a lot of students.
A lot of students coming in and out. So in general, that's the state. So what I'm more interested for our audience from tech populations in Silicon Valley, Bay Area, they have to go hybrid. Sometimes they have to visit the campus, stuff like that. Right? Post this AI boom, How do you think students' expectation, the classroom dynamics, and the project trigger have changed? I know you have stopped a few full-time courses, and it's a
Yeah.
UConn MBA in general. What do you think is the expectation and your experience around that when you talk with potential candidates for your MBA program?
That's a great question. And there's a lot to unpack there. So let's discuss that for a few minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're in the post AI boom. I mean, I would argue that we're still very early in the discussion that is AI. I mean, I know in our case in higher education, we are approaching. To be fair, in my case in higher education, I'm approaching AI as a tool, as a resource that students should use, as they used Google 20 years ago and as they used encyclopedias 50 years ago, right? Like if you use it correctly, use it right, you're using it for as a resource to assist you. I think we're still, because we're still so early in it, it's kind of exciting to think about what we could do. I mean, how often if you look at this as a time and space, how often do we have the opportunity to be at the forefront of something relatively brand new while in higher education, either as faculty or staff or studying in higher education? So from that standpoint, I think it's exciting, really exciting time to be a part of AI in the field of higher education, specifically in MBA. As it relates to how our students use it, so yeah, I mean, you can earn your MBA from UConn anywhere in the world. Certainly anywhere in the United States. We have an online program. We do have a flex program that allows students to study at their own pace, at a time that works for them, either synchronously or asynchronously. We have the opportunity for students to, if they're here in Connecticut, to study here in Connecticut. So whether it's AI or not, technology, which certainly feeds AI, allows students the freedom and flexibility to pursue these degrees at a time and space that works for them. In the classroom, again, I hope students are using AI to be the tool that it can be. So when I give students assignments, I'm expecting that they are going to use AI to further the research, to further the thought process of going beyond what you could commonly do if you didn't have an AI. So it's interesting to see where we're going to go in the months and years to come with this. But for now, I think that again, it does afford students the opportunity to do this from anywhere.
No, that's a great answer you're given, that it's not just about AI, it's any technology, but it's like how do we integrate and use that technology, that boom
Yeah.
to marry your aspiration of what you want to do in life, and how do you want to leverage that ecosystem around UConn, right? I mean, it's
Mhm.
about the fact, it's about the student experience as well. It's not just
Yeah.
technology.
And Aswajit, I'm sorry, you bring up a great point. When you start talking about ecosystems,
Yeah.
that's a wonderful way to conceptualize, hey, how AI in this case as a technological factor indirectly impacts my business. Right now, we talk a lot about ecosystems from a strategic environmental analysis standpoint within an MBA program, right? What are all the factors, either directly or indirectly, that impact your business? So on the direct side, right, customers directly impact your business, and competitors, and the labor market and supply chain. But on the indirect side, whether it's factors such as social cultural factors or economic factors or others, right? Technological factors have a huge impact on our business indirectly. And if you don't embrace that, you're going to see example after example of example after example of companies that fail to innovate by not seeing how those factors change. And so I'm so glad that you brought that up, because that is something that we're thinking about. And if we teach it here, we should be living it here as well, right? So we have to embrace all technological factors, and really all indirect factors that impact our ecosystem, including in this case AI.
Right. That's a great point, Michael. And why I brought that up is the student experience, and every student want to go to the industry, that industrial connection, especially when you're Hartford. A lot of industries are surrounding that building itself. Plus,
Yeah.
I mean, UConn is a brand name, in at least in Northeastern. It's a big brand, especially the basketball team, and you can
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can
absolutely.
leverage that brand as much as you can. It's all on the student. Nobody can spoon feed you, but you can really leverage that brand name, especially a university which is from 1880s and like thriving, and till now it's an industry in itself. I was talking with the MBA person. It's UConn is not a small thing. It's an industry in itself, right? I mean, people can leverage within the college also.
I'm sorry, Aswajit. I think we might have broken up. Are you there? I can hear you now.
Yeah, yeah, sorry. I mean, I wanted to say like this is on the students and not only on the college. And how do you leverage? I would really appeal the students are potential candidates from the tech population, both in New York, especially the fees and stuff is very manageable compared to very costly colleges, and the brand is
Mhm.
all yours. And you can leverage connections in New York, Boston, anywhere. It's like
Oh,
just
sure.
1 hour from. So that is where I was coming, like how the AI boom, and you brought a excellent point. It's all not just about AI, any technology, how do you leverage it and how do you make use of that industry connection, alumni status of UConn and the program in general.
Mhm. Well, I mean, if you think about it, to that same point, you have to take advantage of, ideally, you want to build structure from strategy. But sometimes you have to build strategy around structure. And
Yeah.
so I'm sure you've talked about this, at length over the years, but look at COVID, right? COVID really forced higher education in general, all education in general, but certainly here at UConn, to take
Yeah.
advantage of existing structure to build strategy. Our online MBA came out of necessity from COVID. The fact that we are able to so conveniently and clearly and articulately speak with one another across the coasts. Right. Sure, we've been able to do that before, but that came out of the necessity to be able to do that. And AI will have its same space. We have, uh, you know, faculty and other administrators and leaders here figuring out right now how to best incorporate these ideas into existing curriculum or co-curricular activities. So yeah, I mean, it goes back to taking advantage of the the opportunities that are there and being innovative.
Right, yeah. Talking about AI, I also had few sessions on agentic AI. There was a good turnaround. So it's about visibility also. How do we propagate that to the students, get that interest? That's why we're talking, also. I was just talking about the podcast. We'll plan something around that AI thing, technology. I know it's new. One good point I'll talk to you after the podcast, which we can private. I mean, I just don't want to talk with others before it's official. One good thing is AI is new. A lot of colleges, they're still catching up on AI.
Yes,
It always starts with industry, and that's natural. That's not a college initiative, right? It's start on research labs. It starts with investment, and which is separate, and then it goes to industry. Then universities adopt that to teach that. So that's a natural cycle, and here it's everybody's game from now on. I would suggest, I mean, I would really advocate that it's everybody's game, how we leverage and utilize this kind of industrial revolution. What I feel like
hmm,
it was there, it's no different. It is changing the job structure. It is changing the dynamics of workforce. It is changing the way we are productive. Definitely in a college or outside, it will change few things, and this is on us how we leverage is what we can plan in that workforce,
yeah, I agree.
integrate the thing you are telling, right? So we can always discuss that. But those are excellent points about what I meant to say. UConn is a brand people have to utilize and not just depend on the college, but they have to use that ecosystem and evolve with the evolution of new technologies.
I agree.
Yeah. And what other things are in your mind, Michael, when you say like the future of MBA in UConn? It's like Flex MBA. You have also started a 1 year MBA program, which is really interesting. And can
Yeah,
you know more to the audience? Like a lot of people want to finish up their MBA quickly and go into the workforce. Maybe is that the reason, or what?
yeah. I mean, that is one of the reasons, and it is exciting right now to have
gone back into the space, allowing students to complete this degree full time, specifically in a year. And what we're constantly trying to do is remove barriers, right? Create opportunities for students to come and complete these programs in a way that makes sense, in a way that works for them specifically. If you're going to sell yourself as being flexible, as being, having the students to, to do these programs at their own pace when they want to do them, then a one-year MBA is a natural evolution of that, right? It makes sense. Some people, whether you're international students or domestic, that, want to be out of the workforce for a very specific amount of time, or have other needs to be able to get this done in a year, those populations do exist. And it goes exactly to what we were talking about just a few minutes ago. If you look at your ecosystem, if UConn School of Business, specifically MBA programs, look at its entire ecosystem, you can see, all right, well, we know who our competitors are. We know what our supply market looks like. Our labor market looks like. We know the supply chain, and we know our customers. And so if you know those things, you could start to develop your own, maybe your competitive advantage. And you can see, what are we really good at? What can we do? Well, we can deliver an MBA with all the resources available to any students, with all of the great academic programming, again, the co-curricular opportunities inside and outside the classroom. We can do all that reasonably in a year. And when you realize you can do that, building it is I won't say a simple matter, but it's manageable to do. One of the things we always talk about here is, what's the problem you're trying to solve, right? We want to be creating programming, creating education and curriculum based around the needs of our students. So maybe that's specifically around curriculum. Maybe that is incorporating AI courses, into the curriculum, or in the past, courses in social responsibility or cryptocurrency or whatever it might be, going back years. Well, now it was, hey, the infrastructure exists, or the need for an infrastructure for students to be able to do this in a year exists. So let's create a pathway for them to do that. And that's what we're doing. And Aswajit, I'll say, we're constantly innovating, and we've got plans among plans that go, in the long term, possibly years down the road, because that's strategy. That's what you have to do to remain competitive and essential in a really turbulent environment.
Oh, absolutely, Michael. And I was talking on Friday, like any program is also just like a product, right? You have to pivot.
Yeah.
To see how the traction is. You have to see get out of the cold start problem. You have to do the branding. You have to do the marketing. I mean, It's like any other product, it's a consumer product. It's an ed tech product. I mean, it's a big, not a small ed tech. It's a big program inside a big university, right? Which has a different structure, but fundamentals are same. I mean, you have to pivot if you start with an MVP, which is a good thing. I mean, I'm very sure you've been in product before, because you've started with MVP up, say, like 25 odd people, you're saying, and that's a good thing. So you can understand the reception, and you can see how to pivot the course structure or the student structure. How do you amalgamate the Flex MBA with this? I mean, then that's a good structure in itself. But
Thank you.
So what are the challenges do you feel? Have you done it in the past? Have you done some competitive analysis of, say, Cornell or other colleges which provide 1-year MBA? And what is the main strategy to be ahead in this game?
That's a great question. And obviously there are challenges in everything we do. One of the things I teach in the classroom, I'm teaching a class right now on Thursday nights called Managing Organizations. So it's kind of an intro to MBA. In that it's one of the first classes a lot of MBA students take. And we talk a lot about the differences between something that's unknown and uncertainty, right? So there's a lot of correlation between those two terms, and there's a lot of interchange between those two terms. But there's a difference between the way you manage an unknown and the way you manage an uncertain future. And in this case, there's not much unknown. There's just uncertainty. How much is what is the true value of the program? What are the needs of the population that we're suspecting? How can we manage those needs? And so living in a space where there's more uncertainty than the unknown, you could manage that. Just like any company manages uncertainty, right? You do what you can to reduce variability, to limit instability, or to limit the potential for failure, right? So I think that we've taken the steps. If we have a wonderful leadership team from the dean of the business school all the way on through our associate dean for graduate programs and the executive leadership here, specifically in the MBA program, they're supportive and they understand what we're trying to do, and they provide resources to what we're trying to do. So I think we've done it right in the case of the one-year MBA. And you can look at our successes in the past with the current iterations of what we call our Flex MBA, the creation and launch of the OMBA a few years ago. I mean, I think we're very strong in this space of not simply reacting to a market need, but proactively thinking about, okay, yeah, yes, we can respond to this, but let's make sure we do so in a thoughtful and critical way so that we are meeting the needs of our population.
No, no, that's a great thing about UConn. Like you see the trend and you react or pivot. No, that's the thing. Like just like you are doing every MBA as a flex MBA. Start with, yeah. It's very much necessary. I really salute you guys for doing that always. Even when I started in BAP in 2014 or something, it was like lesser number. Now I'm glad that it's growing. Like we have like 250 odd people, you're saying, which was not the case earlier. But yeah, it's all about reacting to the nature of industry demand, how the students can benefit, and pivoting the courses, or else it becomes like a old university with I mean without innovating without being modernized, right? So definitely great points. I think we talked a lot about the courses. I want to make it a little bit interesting about you also. I see like you teach entrepreneurship, and you also, we talk like you go to hype and other startup environment, right? How do you marry that, because it's very important that students have an entrepreneurial mindset. Everybody have an ambition to do something, and how do you inculcate that culture? And especially you have been teaching those courses, so it's personally what have been your experience. You have CCEI, right? Entrepreneurship,
Mhm.
where you do funding for econ alumni and students, which is great. I mean, what has been your experience in the reception of students on those front?
That's a great question, and certainly there's others you could speak to get, different viewpoints or perspectives. In my case, I see the University of Connecticut, and in this case specifically the business school, as a partner, right? Either a community or a corporate partner to all the companies that you can see outside my window, and to all of our students. And so if that's the mindset I'm going to believe, then, or I'm going to adhere to, then it is my responsibility to work with organizations like Hype that you mentioned, or the Metro Hartford Alliance. And that's not just me, that's many at the school, at the university. It's our obligation to go and present and give workshops or seminars to those, because we have this knowledge base. So we should be sharing it. Now, in the case of CCEI, the Center for Entrepreneurship Innovation, they are doing great things towards building entrepreneurship, to assisting others in building new business. But again, I think it all roots from that same point of, we have this knowledge base. Let's be good corporate partners, right? Good community citizens, stewards, if you will, of leadership, which is corny, but stewards of leadership, right? That allow for us to share this information and to create these pockets of, or to create this collaborative space where we're all sort of working together towards a common goal. It's actually quite a bit of fun. So as you mentioned, last week I had the opportunity to speak at the Next Gen Summit, which was put on through Hype, which is a local organization here in Hartford. And it was, I want to say 140, 150 individuals from all over the region that were interested in learning, like, how can we move forward as individuals working in business. I talked about, my specific talk was about sort of how do you stand out once you've found meaningful work. And yeah, that's it. That's a knowledge base that I have through the years of study and research and education that I have had. And I was able to give that and share that with others. And again, that comes back to the fact that we are this partner to those organizations and others.
Oh, absolutely, because there are, especially in Boston, there have been MBA programs. You might have known Babson and some others who are especially famous for that entrepreneurship track. So especially
Yeah.
Babson College in Boston. So a few colleges especially are famous because some flagship, there is definitely a demand for, I especially I see people need to understand that how do you do that, how do you start up, how do you get funding, how do you get visible, how do you promote your product if you want to start something. Those things CCEI and UConn especially is doing is tremendous, and especially I'm glad that you are teaching in those courses, are actively involved with Hype and other entrepreneurial communities, because those will bring in the real value add to the MBA, because every time a big company will not have a need to come to support
No.
in case competition, right? I mean, they don't have the need itself. I mean, it may not be
Yeah.
but it might be a win-win for a startup, and uh, to both for the student and for the startup community in general, to have those kind of conversations. That's why I was
I think you're right. I think you're right. And yeah, I mean, it's a win for the larger ecosystem that we keep going back to, or the community. That's exactly what it's a win for. And I'm limited in my expertise of the great work that the people in CCEI are working on.
Mhm.
I just know from having been here for so long and having collaborated with them in the past. But yeah, it's great work they're doing, because the more entrepreneurial ideas or the spirit that results from that, I think the better off all businesses.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I know, because UConn was there in the Rebellion group. I was also there talking with their Connecting Cities Future conference, like 70 odd
Yeah.
people. So I just wanted to
Is that the Drive to 35
dive to
conference? That yeah, yeah.
it was little. It was a good conference, but we were talking also last week, right? So, do we also see, like, we bring in people together also to get that industry, because there it was like more of senators. It was more of a not a tech industry coming there. It's more
Mm.
of a government plus general leadership who needs marketing, and because that is their mantra. And that was a marketing kind of event. But here, UConn, if I think they have also UConn as a company. I mean, not as a company. If I tell UConn as an industry, right, you have a lot of avenues to do such kind of conference yourself, I believe. Especially getting the leaders united will, because it's all flows from top to down. If leaders are there supporting, their employees will support, their people will come. What is your point of view on those kind of conferences being driven? I'm just not putting in a rough spot here, but I know we're not I mean, I'm just thinking loud here. Can
Of
we
course, of course.
in Hartford, or say stores? So stores have been, I know we are having a lot of conferences, but doing this kind of events, where industry people come, meet.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a few things there. So, first of all, you're right. The university does quite a bit, whether it's building and managing their own symposium or conference, whatever it might be,
Right.
or hosting those as well. We do that often, but to me, I see what I like, and more closer to my world, because I certainly can't speak for what the entire university is doing, but more close in my world is the partnerships that we create. So UConn acting as a sponsor for the Hype event that I mentioned last week, or any number of other dozens of events, if not hundreds of events, well, maybe dozens of events that we do throughout the year. That's where, again, just the person sitting in my seat, that's where I see the greatest value. It's, again, we have this knowledge base. One of the things I talk to students often about is beyond your MBA, beyond your studies, you want to keep this learning mindset that you've developed. All right. So as you've seen, you've graduated with your degree in BAPM 10 years ago, but you haven't stopped learning, right? You haven't stopped seeking information and looking to develop yourself further, helping develop others further. That's that mindset that drives, I think, what we do here. So the opportunity to partner with an organization like the Metro Hartford Alliance, just because, again, or Hype we partnered with last week, or other community-based associations in the region. I think that's our way to ensure that that learning mindset continues to be developed in others. So in some ways, it doesn't matter as much if we're the ones hosting, if we're the ones building these symposia or conferences. It's that we are taking all of this amassed learning that we have and getting it out, whether maybe it's at a podcast like this, or maybe it's in the classroom. I'm pointing, you can't see, I'm pointing towards classroom where I teach, right? Maybe it's any number of other areas where we
Yeah.
have this knowledge base that we know people want. So
Yeah.
we're doing what we can to share and to get it out there.
Definitely. I mean, that's really exciting because that is where we're talking about the case competition. We'll do some structure around it,
Yeah, and that's a great thing.
see how you do a MVP around it. You had a very good approach to MVP. See how it's working. Get industry folks, then make it an inter college or make it a larger scale so that there is more networking opportunities. So those kind of stuff, I believe, I'm grateful that you guys are supporting. We can definitely that makes it visible in my point of view from industry perspective. I've been doing like say you go to Silicon Valley, every day there is a conference. Every day there'll be tons of conferences. I mean, that's why people are concentrated there. I mean, they don't want to travel. I mean, it's all there. It's a fun also. People enjoy their daily life. Some people have fun doing that. It's a networking fun. Definitely, that's a great thing that UConn as a university or organization is supporting that, and we can definitely do a great thing that front. And yeah, it's coming to fun part of your sorry, I'm just deviating to the college again and again. I just wanted to this last we just want to wrap it up with your personal goals, mission, and say I think you have an interesting point that you have been also a commander in Navy, not Navy, Air Force or something.
Oh no, yes, I was appointed an honorary commander in the Air National Guard. I don't. It's not. I don't have any military experience. I serve as a liaison with Connecticut Air National Guard, one of their groups here in the state, to be able to provide any number of resource or trainings and helping them out in a few different ways I can. It's something I'm really excited about. I had a former student of mine as a colonel in the Air National Guard, Paul Fiasconero, and yeah, he and I, worked together for a semester, and he encouraged me to apply. And again, it was an appointment that I was happy to have. So it's a 3-year term. I'm really excited about it. But yeah, it just goes back to what we've talked about, right? Like it's this learning mindset.
Yeah.
There's a natural curiosity. People, I think, want more. So you mentioned, that people, whether they're in Silicon Valley or anywhere, like going to conferences, and it's not for the free food, right? Like it's not for the swag and the other things that you get. It's for the networking opportunities, the opportunity to meet people, to learn from different people, to hear about potential opportunities either for professional development or something else, right? And that's the type of work that I'm doing in the Guard, or when I work with the Guard, the type of work that I'm doing here, type of work that I'm doing in the classroom. And not just me, but all my colleagues, all of us. That's why we do it, because there's this natural curiosity, and we want to help others continue to explore and develop their learning mindset.
No, that's a great thing because that's why I was saying like you are very curious at this stage and you're very settled in UConn, I would say, and still you're like having that versatile mindset. You teach entrepreneurship. You're in a different class altogether when you say about army or navy or anything on defense front, right? So plus you have been a supporter of the community, the community partnership and stuff like that, which is a big thing. And that is what a lot of colleges, even I'm in Seattle right now, University of Washington, they have a great partnership with non-profits,
Mm-hmm.
and industries, right? A lot of people go and talk, and those kind of stuff, that brings in the industry into the org, and they are also interested. Okay, what's happening? How do I leverage the student talent? Plus, they leverage my resources at my front. Like, how do I help them getting some practical knowledge, involve them in my projects? Because it's always the amalgamation of industry and student experience. And you have been doing a great job there. And we'll go to some rapid fire question, Michael,
Okay, I'm ready.
because we talked a lot. So I just don't want to. We will discuss afterwards. How do we strategize? Any points we have on the case competition we're talking and stuff like that to bring in that revolution. But let's go to the personal question. Have a few interesting points I have for you. What has been the favorite Like year for you in UConn, in the whole career you have had in UConn, like what has been the favorite year and why it is?
The favorite year?
Yeah.
Um, they've all been really good. It's hard to say one year's been better than the next. Some years were scary. I mean, on the one hand, I can say, and this seems to me like an odd example, but the way we responded in the School of Business, and again with the programs that I'm a part of during COVID, right? This terrible, terrible disaster that hurt and devastated so many lives. The fact that I could say that was a memorable time for me was the way that we handled getting thousands of students off campus in March of 2020 and finding a way for them to get through that semester, and then working with, specifically in my case, working with the city of Hartford and the university to bring back some limited education to in person. And that's a highlight that I'll take with me. Beyond that, some of the favorite moments that I've had, graduation is always a favorite moment. I mean, the ability to welcome somebody to the university, work with them either as an administrator, given my role in student services, or an instructor in some cases, and see them grow and see students know what they don't know and learn, learn confidence and and being able to do things that they didn't think they could do before. So seeing them in graduation is always going to be a favorite moment of mine. You mentioned the basketball teams, right? The basketball teams winning national championships several years that I've been here is pretty great. So there's a lot of good moments, but they don't always come from where you think they come from.
There's no single good moment. You have so many good moments.
Yeah, we've been blessed, and I'm very, very lucky. I have an amazing team of people that work with me. Again, I'm very lucky to have wonderful leadership that knows the mission, supports what we're doing, and provides resources as a result to help us achieve the goals that we're looking for. Not everybody can say that, and we are very lucky in the School of Business that we can.
No, awesome. Like that's a great thing. Like, yeah, that's why you're continuing, right? For so long. I mean, you've been there for so long here, and
Absolutely.
Each and every moment. There is no favorite moment, but I was just the grad day, the when UConn basketball team
Yeah, a lot of good moments.
Times have they won, by the way? I think it's 18 or 20 times. I don't know, numerous times, right?
It's a lot. We have between the men's and the women's team both teams have been incredibly successful, but the women's basketball team has been very successful for a long time now. So there's a lot of really great moments. But even then, so let's look at that. So some of the things that we're able to do here, basketball is something that draws a lot of people to the university. Well, the women's basketball coach, Gino Oriema, has come and spoke about leadership topics, right? Because you want to talk, there's obviously a crossover between sports-related leadership principles and business-related leadership principles. So we've had Coach Oriema here in the past talking about leadership principles. The men's basketball coach, Dan Hurley, we've been blessed. Our colleagues on the MS side, MS program side, were able to, over the last few years, bring MBA and MS students together up to stores where the basketball team practices to watch a practice and to actually see true leadership happening in real time on a basketball court, right? So there's all these
I've been also
co-curricular opportunities that are great, that take what we're learning in the classroom and show how they can be applied outside of it. It's really wonderful.
Yeah, that's great, because I've been also there in the stores campus, and they're they're tremendous. I mean, they are the brand also for the UConn. I mean, they are one of
them. Yeah, for sure.
And that's great, Michael. And one last thing, what is the habit that defines you in the career the most? Like, what have made you successful? Is the innovation, is the openness to community, or is the sincerity, or pivoting to different structure? I'm just giving multiple options so that what do I mean by habit?
So one habit that is defining, that's a really interesting question, and there's I can't think of one specific thing that stands out. Resilience comes to mind. These are most roles that I've ever seen, either inside or outside of higher education, just through the people I've worked with or students I've taught, resilience is something that's needed. Dependability is something I've seen. Being reliable, that's one that I could talk about for a moment, right? Reliability is really important. So showing up and being where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there, doing the job that you've been asked to do. Um, that's something that it's a habit that I've developed and I've seen in so many of my colleagues here, right? Like our ability to do the job um, is really important. So I think, I mean, I'm sort of thinking out loud here,
Yeah.
Aswajit, but I think I'll go with reliability, right? The ability, that's a habit that I formed that I encourage in my children, I encourage in my colleagues, and I've seen so often here at the university, just again, showing up and being where you're supposed to be.
Reliability, I like your answer because one of my bosses also told me this. Reliable, how reliable are you as a person, or whatever you commit at the beginning, are you living up to it, and what are you
Yeah,
to live up to it? How reliable, trustworthy, plus are you living up to your expectation that you have set?
yeah. And if you think about it, all those other topics kind of fall into reliability, right? Like the ability to build trust, be a strong leader. Yeah, so that's my answer. I'm going with reliability.
Big answer, awesome answer. And at the end, like I just wanted to see like about the UConn MBA experience. Do you have one word or one sentence which defines the UConn MBA for potential candidates? 1 year flex or anything?
One word, that's a good one. Well, I suppose the salesman in me could go with rewarding, right? Or the student service personnel in me could go with something like connections or collaboration, right? There's so many different words to think of. I would say, if you're thinking of all of that, one word, I kind of like engaging or engagement. If you think about it, students that are getting an MBA, why are you getting an MBA? You're getting an MBA because you're tired of the status quo, or you want different opportunities, you want to make more money, whatever it might be, right? And so you need to find a way to engage with us. We need to be able to engage with you so you can better engage at work with your supervisors, with your team. And if you think about a whole bunch of other words that sort of tie into that we've already talked about, again, I think I'd go with engagement, or engaging or something in that space.
But and that is why people do MBA mostly, right? It's about engaging, networking in that. It's not just about like say Brad or me, like after 10, 15 years of experience, like uh, people come for engagement, networking, and learning is one part, but that is very important, vital part actually. You're about a right point. So here, Michael, we'll wrap up this conversation. It was really fun
It
talking with
was.
and propagating your ideas. I know it's not about branding UConn. It's about we're talking before the podcast also. It's about bringing that to different the tech community in the West, East. Like how can they leverage this brand UConn and ultimately thrive in their career. But it's not just about take, right? It's a give and take relationship, and that's why I'm also involved. You're telling like what is my mission, especially if you say like it's about this. There's nothing formal. It's a propagating that culture, uh,
Yeah,
the tech and the business culture, amalgamating that, and the industry networking, that's because if you see, I have podcasted a lot of leaders, IPO leaders, GTM, SVPs, entrepreneurs. They're all there. I mean, they're always people are eager to, I mean, showcase their ideas to the public openly, so that because one-on-one is sometimes difficult. They cannot
sure.
one-on-one with every 1,000 people. So people can get a lot from this 1 hour, and instead of searching a lot of blogs, a lot of places, asking here and there, a lot of people, they can get it right from the horse's mouth, as you say, right? I mean, right where, right where the source is, correct? So yeah, that was my point, and we'll talk more about the future and how we. It was great that we are also working together. We did some innovative stuff, and we'll continue doing this kind of conversation. I'll talk with your UConn student experience leader. I think Pratt also shortly, and we'll just bring it up to our larger community, and we'll keep doing some events and stuff. We can always do that later. But really, thank
Great.
you to take it up in a very short time. I mean,
It was my pleasure. Thank you.
and sorry, like to throw you off in some of the things. I mean, it's about the impromptu things, right? What we think about each other, and how do we grow. That was the idea. But really love it, and we will stop the recording here. But we will definitely connect, and we will discuss more about this.
Yeah, I look forward to it. I look forward to it.
Hey, hi Prad. How are you doing? Hi Pradyumna. So it's great having you in this podcast. We've been talking. How's the day? By the way, I like your background.
Yeah,
What is that?
it was good. I'm fine. And how are you doing today? So it is UConn background. When you enter the university campus in stores, you will pass by this background. Many students actually take a lot of photographs with family around this background.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, Pradyumna. So since we have less time, I had a great time chatting with Michael Bozi, your MBA director, and I would love to first start with your background. How you
Mhm.
came to UConn? What is your background, and like what made you come to UConn in the first place? I can start with that first. If you can
Mhm.
introduce yourself very briefly to our audience, and how did you choose UConn among so many other colleges out here? What was the one
Yeah.
main factor for you?
Yeah, thank you for having me in your podcast, Aswajit, first of all. From my background, so I am a product leadership professional. I do have deep expertise in SaaS products, cloud, and currently I am doing AI-driven innovation through some of the experiments. So before pursuing my MBA, I spent 9 years in Siemens Industry Software, where I led the agile delivery, then project quality. Also, I was been part of the product leadership team. Uh, I'm currently pursuing my STEM MBA at UConn. I am in third semester. So to come back to your question, so after having like decade of experience in developing products at enterprise level, I wanted to broaden my skill set in the intersection of business, technology, and data. Uh, while I worked on the global complex software development environment, I often encountered questions about advanced analytics and data-driven decision making. And now, in the last couple of years, like how do you do the AI-driven innovation? That gap motivated me to pursue my STEM MBA at UConn,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how I started my UConn program in fall 2024. This program is allowing me to translate my earlier experience into strategic business impact, where I am trying to bridge the technology with the business.
Awesome, awesome. That's a great point. Like, so UConn have all these qualities. So, how did you choose UConn as a brand? Because of the culture, the brand, you would have done some research, or like, what is that pulling factor? Do you think
Mhm.
student expectation after the post AI boom have changed,
Mhm.
or enhancements have you observed after? Obviously, when you would be coming in, this is still AI was a thing. Right now, it's like a kind of post AI boom. Like we are already seeing the boom, and it's growing, right? What has been your experience around that, and how has been your learning outside the college or any ecosystem? Level?
Yeah. This is a great question. So how did I choose UConn first? So UConn, I believe that UConn is having unique curriculum. So when I see nearby universities, so UConn is having very optimum and balanced program with 14 courses. And in MBA program, it is like blend of having 9 courses in business and 5 courses in electives. Electives are mainly from STEM and non-STEM concentration electives. So most of the programs for me was like 20 course programs in nearby universities.
Yeah.
And having background with like over a decade of experience, I was like searching for the program which is very balanced, which is very optimum. And then I have gone through the curriculum, right, whether it suits all the courses for me.
Yeah.
And it perfectly suited me. And then I decided to do my MBA at UConn.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go to like how has been the industry connections after you joined? You see the real industry trends, right? So we also were in the Connecting Cities Future event from Rebellion Group recently, and
Hmm.
so this is like UConn is at the center of so many industries, like right around the campus in Hartford. You have Aetna, the Hartford. I mean, a lot of companies, like UHE, a lot of it's the insurance capital of the world. Still, you have other financial institutes and other heavy industries, manufacturing. A lot of things are centered in Connecticut itself, but the proximity to Boston and New York, right? That's a
Hmm.
big advantage that Hartford or Shorts, anybody has just 2 hours drive from both the places. Uh,
Hmm.
so how do you leverage that connection or industry connection when you are already working through case competition or student led programs like we have been talking on getting a lot of guest sessions like I was doing with you on agentic AI. Like how do you
Hmm.
think can help can students get benefited out of this kind of in actual industry people coming and talking with you, networking with you, doing case competition, judging your competition? How does that really sounds like in your point of view, and how does it help you? If
Yeah.
throw some light.
Yeah. To start with, this will greatly help for the students. So I believe that UConn, to start with, like UConn provides very rich ecosystem and that goes beyond the classroom. So
Yeah.
we do have several platforms like Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation, then Innovation Lab, Digital Frontier Innovation, and again a club culture.
Yeah.
So what we usually try as a student at UConn, right? We usually try to leverage all these platforms to make our industry connections. And as you rightly said, that it is very close to the Boston and New York. And again, we do have Hartford and Stamford in Connecticut, where there are a lot of small industries and medium industries. And in the last conference, I came to know that UConn is having, Hartford is having almost 4,000 manufacturing businesses nearby. So
Okay.
we do have a lot of industry connections nearby, which students can leverage. So how do we do it? Like, for example, we do it through all these platforms, which I have already mentioned. And again, we do have student organizations, which I feel that those are especially very impactful. So as a
Okay.
founder of project and product leadership club, so I have not only gained that leadership and entrepreneurial experience, but I believe that it helps me to create the industry connections or to network with the nearby industries, and
Yeah.
again to my members to give the experimental opportunities.
No, no, that's a great thing, and that's how we are talking, right? I mean, that's why we are
Yeah.
talking. Especially, you invited me for the, I mean, the sessions I have had on agentic AI, AI/ML trends. I
Mhm.
saw a lot of excitement, not only with students, a lot of faculty members or part-time senior members like you. You yourself have like more than around 10 years of experience, right? A lot of senior people who are not new to the industry just want to do MBA because of the sole reason of networking, right, with industry
Yeah.
people.
Mhm.
Like because the US culture is different. If it's an international student, definitely, amalgamating. I mean that culture, that culture is important, and not just student culture. It's about the industry culture, say Bay Area culture or
Mhm.
Seattle culture or say New York, Boston. Everything cannot be done on campus, right? So you
Yeah.
have to have those remote sessions, hybrid sessions, and get people. And I'm grateful that you are doing that. I mean, we
Yeah.
have been talking, we have been strategizing because you are the student leader, president of in the club we have formed, like UCONN PM Club, definitely a great initiative. And it's not just forming the club, now taking it from here to really make it fruitful for the student community, as you're saying, like what student community will get, right, from these industry connections, and how the industry also get benefited by choosing the right person quickly. They don't want to waste time recruiting. If they get a good person, then they will just pull him in. I mean, it's not about interviewing anymore. They want to see the real action and who is really. I mean, they cannot know you in 30 minutes or 1 hour, but they can
Yeah.
know you when you're working with them. So you get an internship in Salesforce, or you get an internship in the Hartford, Aetna, UAG, anywhere. Then there's a high chance you go there again, right, full time, right? So that's how everything happens, and I'm
Mhm.
grateful that you are doing that. And
Yeah. Thank you.
I would congratulate you that you have taken some great initiatives around that. And how do you think we'll take it from here? Like, say, how do you think UConn is planning to further expand on these AI/ML tech revolution, the trending topics, modern
Mhm.
topics in agentic AI? Obviously, every faculty member have their own niche, and it comes from the industry and back and forth. It's a two-way street, right? It's a give and
Mhm.
take relationship between the university and industries. What do you think? How UConn can be really different in that and can add value to both the international and domestic students who want to go to these trending technologies?
Yeah. So this is great point, Aswajit. So as we know that in the last couple of years, so the technology are very rapidly evolving in the AI and agentic AI space. So from in my opinion, in in project and product leadership club, it is a student led organization, right? It is affiliated to the UConn School of Business. So our mission is to uh, to build an engaged community with like minded peers by facilitating all these mentorship, networking, discussions, and do the experimentation with the advanced technologies. So how we can achieve that, it is we do have great platforms at UConn. For just give you an example, like we hosted one panel discussion recently from the industry leaders, where four big industry leaders we invited to talk with the members. Leaders shared their perspective on the topic of redefining product management, AI driven innovation. So in that discussion, they discussed the challenges which the product management field is getting with the focus of like AI driven things coming up, right? So from that angle, that discussion drives a lot of deeper thoughts in our student community. And after we get to know the challenges, we started few internal initiatives where students can form a group and work on particular challenge, and try to integrate AI with the product management or AI with the project management. And similar thing we are doing with the other businesses nearby in Connecticut. So we are trying to collaborate with them so that we would get some business challenges from them, and the students can research on those challenges, and they can provide some recommendation through the case, either through the case competitions or hackathons, or the case workshops right here at UConn, or maybe at their places.
No, no, that those are great points, and that's why we had those competition. I mean, we are planning the case competitions also in future. We're talking with your director, and how do we leverage and those, make it bigger, make it at a larger scale. So
Mhm.
a lot of, I mean, students don't have to reach one-on-one always. I mean, a lot of people come together at one spot. So there is a larger networking opportunity. Even with me, like why I'm doing this podcast is you get a visibility across the whole community. I mean, it's about you after that. I mean, nobody can
Yeah.
spoon feed a student. I mean, it's about you after that. I mean, people know you. I mean, and that itself is a big bottleneck. when I or anybody, like they start new in US war culture, it's getting that foot into the door is the first bottleneck, right? Why would
Yeah.
someone talk with you from thousands of people applying for jobs or trying to talk with their hiring managers are busy, they have their own work. That's not their job to recruit, right? I mean, somebody has to stand out, somebody has to do networking from their point of view, because it's a supply demand is now tilted a little bit on the, I mean, company side, right? I mean, because people are more who are applying, and that's where I feel the speech I had done, or the sponsorships and the association we are talking about, right?
Mhm.
That makes sense, and that's definitely is worthy that you and the student community and econ in general is very supportive of those association. I was talking Michael Boji before, and he's very supportive of entrepreneurial initiatives by
Mhm.
Hype, a Metro, Hartford Group, or some other I mean, organizations who are very large startup initiation. I mean, there's large startup groups. Even you have CC EI, right? Who
Yeah. Mhm.
doing that, already supporting UConn alum. So I was just talking before also, like you as a student can learn, and you can give and take. It's a both way, both the relationship we can do. And let's go to the other parts. Pradyumna, you really brought up some excellent points. I really like to answer, like how you, as a student leader, and is forming groups with like 4 to 5 people and trying to get those industry connections bloom, really, so that it
Mhm.
helps other student community. Whenever I talk with you also, you tell about the student community, which is a big thing about student leadership. It's not just about you, it's about the whole ecosystem, how they get help from those associations, or the thing you're trying to do newly, how is it supported by different organization, or in the UConn level. I know it's a big industry in itself. I was talking Michael Boji also. In UConn,
Yeah.
not a
Mhm.
college, it's an industry in itself. Like you
Yeah.
have catering, you have event management, you have UConn Health, you have entrepreneurship. I mean, it's a big industry in Connecticut itself. Where is the larger? I mean, how many people do UConn might have? Like 40,000 students and so many. I mean, where is that association? I mean, there is nowhere else in Connecticut I can see. Right? What is your point of view? How do you leverage, UConn as a MBA, you forget MBA, UConn B school. It has MBA, BAPM, and all these courses, right? It's a B school. How do you leverage
Uh,
those
y- Yeah,
courses?
this is again a great point because if I see, like for example, our community project and product leadership club. So
Yeah.
it is not for only MBA students. It is a graduate business student community. So we do have MS BAPM, MS FinTech, and MBA students, and all these three, four concentrations students are in our community. So uh, what happens is like there are two, three things which I would like to highlight here. The first thing is the UConn courses. Like in the UConn courses, when we usually take the elective courses, that elective courses itself, you will get to work with some different concentration people like MS Bapam with MBA together. And usually it is having the blend of theory plus group projects plus the group presentations. So people
Yeah.
come from different diverse backgrounds, and then they come together, and that itself is a cross-functional leadership, which we usually talk about in the product and project management. So
Yeah.
that experience UConn students already getting inside the curriculum. Outside the curriculum, like when we are talking to the industry leaders, like we had agentic AI conference, right? So
Yeah.
people here in my community or the student community, they started to learn about the agentic AI. So
Yeah.
that our session, like your insights, helped students to start to think about the agentic system. So we do have few curriculum like generative AI and the basics of AI, where students learn about the basic prompt engineering and structured prompts.
Yeah.
But as you and me know, right, the industry is evolving very fast in the AI space, and now we are developing like multiple agents. Whenever we visit the conferences, we usually get to know the multi-agentic system, but the student community is not there, right, for the multi-agentic system. So they are still learning about the structured prompt engineering and generative AI and the advanced analytics and machine learning algorithm.
Yeah, right.
So our uh, our focus with the industry collaboration is like how we should leverage all those opportunities
Yeah.
so that we can solve the industry problems, right?
Yeah.
Usually, I feel that we should start with the problem, not with the tool. So
Right.
I usually talk about in the community, right? Don't learn the AI for the sake of learning AI, right? We
Yeah.
should always ask ourselves, what problem are we trying to solve? And how does AI help us to solve that problem? Whether
Mm.
AI is required or not, that should be the first question. And
Correct.
when we get the problem statements from the industry collaboration, like we visited the Shaping Cities Future very
Yeah.
recently, we had our showcase there. We
Mm.
discussed with like very small businesses here, like what are your business problem, how the community can help you in the research, and how we can leverage AI or agentic AI to research on those topics.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
that's how I feel that the in future we would like to
Mhm.
leverage the industry collaboration, and we definitely would want to uh, encourage the collaboration from the industry so that this student community is here, like they do have around 3 to 20 years of experience to help to solve your business problems.
No, that's those are the points. I was you're spot on, right? I mean, that's why you were there in the conference. You saw like how excited people were. Like I called you for that art of. I called the whole
Mm.
industry actually. You opted to join in there. Like you saw like Deepak and like senior Salesforce leaders from Zero, Amazon, Microsoft. Everybody is there. Like 15 people in the room for 2 hours. Where can you learn that? That to free of I mean, free of cost. People have to attend first to know, then you go in depth. And if they think it's just one of the other things, it's not like that. I mean, you were brave enough to ask question or somebody ask question, then they know you. That's how the interaction grows. And then, as you said, like I or anyone, right? People have limited time. Like they need to have that. Okay, okay. If I give this back to the student community or say startups, you are speaking, they all have some mission in their life, and people will do some charity work, but it will not be forever. So that win-win relationship between the industry and students, say a hiring manager is spending 1 hour of his
Mm.
time for these kind of free events, right, per se, uh, he's
Yeah,
giving back to the community, but he's also super busy working 14, 15 hours in today's competitive world. And we have to give them something, and we have to encourage that. Okay, we give you shortlisted 3 4 students by this case competition, you can try it out, see, use them as intern free. Okay, do some free internship work for 1 or 2 months, because nobody even give free work in industry easily nowadays. And that's
yeah,
how the competitive nature is,
yeah,
because you have to, I mean, say you're giving an interview, case interview, that itself is a work for 1 month. That's anyway free, but you're really coming in and working. They're exposing a new person to their business problem because it's critical for them. Anything goes wrong, they are responsible, and their career might be under scrutiny, right? So that's why I was saying, if people are giving, they have some serious agenda in mind. And you have a good point that blending those agentic AI or new age technologies will make UConn or any other college stand out to be the number one college in the world, because it's an open game. I was talking with Michael Boji. It's an open game from now on. It's
yeah,
not anymore about the brand name. Okay, brand name will pull good students. Okay, Stanford can get good students. Can Stanford good connections? Again, it depends on them, right? It's not like everybody is born with agentic AI now. Who
Mhm.
are they are doing big companies, they don't have time to do
Yeah,
anything else now. So say I'm writing a book on agentic AI, Deepak is
nice.
and we are coaching. So all these are like we are doing for a mission, for our for a mission, right? It's not just yeah, serving one community or other. But I have a weakness. Definitely, that's why we're talking. I have a weakness for econ because I studied here. I came here to US to know the culture firsthand through a big university. Like I never studied in a big university outside India, and that is why I have some weakness. But not everybody will have that same kind, right? It should not be. Also, I feel it should be once you're in industry, it should be for the whole tech community. But as UConn as a college or you as a student now, it's about how you pull and use that, and you are really doing a great job, I would say, there more than required, I would say, because you're not getting paid, you're not a faculty, right, to do that.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
you have a lot of other busy, you're a busy student, you have exams, you have your own career, you have so many things to do. And on top of that, really kudos to you, what you're doing. And I would like to wrap up. That's why I was speaking so much, right?
Okay.
So, what
Mhm.
is your point of view at the end, right? I want to have a wrapping up conversation on what is the future of AI in innovation in business education, or any trending topic. What do you student community expect from their involvement during their time in college or university to uh, latch on to that AI? Maybe you already told, but maybe if you can wrap up one, two, three. Okay, these are the basic important points. In my point of view, is important, or it's my your student experience, not just you're not talking about on behalf of anyone.
Mhm.
It's about your experience, because that's how people are attracted to any college, right? I mean, we're not doing a branding for anyone. I mean, it's good that you have a logo, but I'm just telling about in general, like because it's a open, it's a open podcast where everybody
Yeah.
see it. So I want to be neutral enough to point one or two or three different topics which will help the upcoming students and new grads or potential candidates for econ or any other college, which will help them in this.
Yeah. Yeah, so I would say that like three things. First is the university. So I would say university should leverage the latest trends from the industry or market, and their curriculum should be updated as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Right. For example, now we are like 6 months ahead in the AI, and we are now doing multi-agent system, right? But if you see that universities are still they are not yet there, like they are still on the generative AI space. So
Mhm.
students want that speed. Students want to learn that particular system. That is the
Okay.
first thing. If universities gives like something related to the latest trends, courses, or the or some platform where students can leverage them as early as possible, that will greatly help students as well as the industry, because
Okay.
they are the future leaders.
Got it.
The second thing I would say that for the industry, so I think industries are currently collaborating with the students. At UConn, they are collaborating a lot with different platforms. I
Yeah.
would I would want that in more and more industries from the tech should come forward and collaborate with the students community, so
Yeah.
that student can actually bridge the gap between the curriculum and again the latest trends in the technology, right? So
So much.
that we can solve through the industry collaboration. The third thing is from the students. So I would expect that like many members from my group or student community from UConn or any international students or the citizens, all students should leverage all these platforms to get maximum out of anything, right? For example, the club. We know that the club exists, so how students can leverage that particular platform, it is always up to them, right? They should
Yeah.
come forward, they should ask right questions to the industry leaders. They should
Yeah.
again go to the university professors and ask them that I need this research and I would like to experiment on all those particular topics like agentic AI
Mm.
or AI.
Okay.
So students needs to show up. If students
Correct.
don't show up, nobody is going to help them, because as you
Right.
rightly said, right, industry leaders don't have time. Again, universities have their own momentum or own processes, right, which they have to follow. So
Yes.
in between that, the student is like acting like a bridge, right? So how they can connect with the industry, how they can connect with the university, and get the learning, maximum learning in their school time.
Oh, those are great points. And you have also been doing, I have been observing you and been talking after our involvement, right? So you've been leading that really well. I mean, that's the kind of initiative we need. As you say, like even when you're working in a company, that is the kind of initiative. Every time your hiring manager, boss, or company will not support you sometime, right? Even like it has
Yeah.
to come, as you said rightly, from the student also, because everybody has their own agenda, everybody has their own mission. Nobody is there to help someone or spoon feed someone, at least at this stage of our career, when we are so grown up and we have seen enough of life. We have to take that initiative. That is the first and foremost thing in life. You starting a company or your career, anything, if you're not asking a question, the answer is no. I have told this cliche number of time in my podcast. If you're not asking, answer is no. If you're asking, then it is yes or no. If you're talking with me or any other leader, senior VPs, directors, if you're talking, then there is a chance that something happens. If you're not even getting a chance to talk, that is the first bottleneck you have to solve. And to solve that, the only way is to get involved with them. And it's always a win-win.
Yeah.
Nobody is going to spend a single minute if you're expecting it, not even your parents, anybody for that matter, just to be blunt, is not going to spend a single minute. I mean, if they're really purposeful in life, they will not, unless they have other agenda, they're in the end stage or something. In general, where they're peak of their career, people want that give and take relationship, and you're doing a great job there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's continue to do that. And any last minute tip for me, I mean, from our discussions, like how I can help you guys and how you can leverage my network. Obviously, I have a podcast, a lot of leaders, visibility, and so on, but that is just visibility. No, anything I can, any last minute thought before we wrap up the conversation? Obviously, we'll strategize something, but just a thought before we wrap up.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you for collaborating with us and as a club, and again with the UConn, our members and overall UConn students are really really got the information from from the agentic AI perspective, and your insights were very like thought provoking inside the students' mind, because they now started to think about agentic AI.
Yeah.
So so we would love to collaborate with you more on the case competitions. If you do have any business problems for your generative products, and uh, so we would love to know them, and the students community would like to research on them and help you to give you some strategic recommendations on those particular problems, because we
Yeah.
per- we are here to blend all these three dots which earlier we discussed, right? Business,
Mm.
technology, and the data driven decision making, and
Yeah.
again AI. So we would like to do that experimentation henceforth. And thank you for collaborating with us, and we would love to collaborate you in the future.
Thanks, Pradimna. Have a great day. We'll keep engaging. No worries in that. Thanks a lot to spend time and inviting me for the podcast. Bye.